Well, good morning, Tone.
Hey.
How you doing?
You know what? I'm good.
It's game day.
Yeah. It is, even though I regretted to inform Ken. You guys were talking about the games last night. I go, there were games last night.
Well, I don't think anybody cares about other preseason games, do they?
Well, one of your rivals and your week one opponent started their starting quarterback and their 99 Madden receiver.
They did. I wouldn't have cared if the Guardians were playing last night. Like, you're going to watch the Guardians. I'm going to watch. Sorry. I mean, I got the NFL Plus thing, so I can go back and watch this later if I want to.
I don't know. Judging by the ratings these preseason games get, there are clearly a lot of baseball fans that watch this instead.
Oh, without a doubt. There's also gamblers, and there's also people just want to see some football, for crying out loud. So I mean, it's not like it. Again, if they didn't draw ratings, they wouldn't do them. But they draw ratings. People watch them no matter what they want to say. Still, the Pro Bowl still drew a rating.
I mean, I'm looking at the lower bowl. Is this game being played in Seattle?
In Seattle.
It is jammed. I mean, it looks like a regular season game. I can only see the lower bowl.
Yeah. They get them in there. We have a game tonight, and I did some soul searching yesterday. I really did do some soul searching, Tone. You wouldn't believe this. I was standing there in the newsroom over at 8, and I was looking out the window. And at that newsroom, you can see, guys, I'm dead serious about this. This is this. Boy, you're having an existential crisis over Browns quarterbacks. Maybe you need to take a step back there and go take a walk or something like that. But either way, I did some soul searching yesterday because I'm looking at the lake and I'm just kind of thinking, and then it kind of hit me. And I think I've made a terrible mistake. And I need you to help me through this because I will not discuss Shedeur Sanders as if he's a 5th-round pick. I think he's better than that. I think that we've convoluted it a little bit with the Dylan Gabriel pick. But, I mean, if you were to go dollars to donuts with every Browns fan out there and go, hey, who do you think really has a higher ceiling? In all honesty, I would say the majority are going to say Shedeur.
Would the majority in the Browns front office say that?
I'm not sure, but I asked Browns fans. And
but they probably wouldn't, right?
But
because he ended up going 5th and one went 3rd.
And this is my problem. This is my crisis. I really, really, really want something that probably isn't very realistic whatsoever. I want to skip steps on the way back to being like I've tasted competitive football twice over the last 5 years. And you become, when you get a taste, all you want to do is chase that dragon and get it back. And I think I wanted to skip steps on the way back there. Like him becoming our franchise quarterback, the chances of that are actually, I got to admit, they're low. They are low chances. But because of the situation we're in, I can't help but entertain him. Like Anthony, like Albert Breer, there was a video of you and I arguing about Shedeur Sanders yesterday, and Albert Breer, who comes on the station every Tuesday or basically, whenever he suits it. But Albert Breer SI had said, boy, they aren't talking about Riley Leonard getting a shot in the Colts Open QB competition this way. Why? Are they charting Jalen Milroe's first-team reps in Seattle? I go, well, these situations are not like this situation. Anthony Richardson, they want him to be their starter. I don't know. He's regressing to the point where I don't even know if he knows about football anymore. Like the game and has seen the game, according to yesterday and what I saw yesterday, the clips this morning. When it comes to Jalen Milroe, I mean, you got Sam Darnold there. You brought him in for a reason. Sam Darnold's going to be your starter. Here, you got a 40-year-old quarterback who nobody, and I think Albert would have to say, does anybody expect him to start past the month of October? And I'm being generous. Does anybody expect Joe Flacco to start past the month of October?
I don't think so.
Okay. So
of course, now I don't even know if he's starting week 1 anymore after some of the stuff that came out from Carolina.
Well, I would certainly start in week 1, obviously. But either way, I mean, we still got a few more weeks to discuss that. Hell, it's a month until the season starts. But when you go back to this, it's like, okay, nobody expects him to start even past the month of October, and that's being generous here. So then it becomes a golden opportunity. Well, Kenny Pickett, there's already stink on him, no matter what anybody wants to say. Dillon Gabriel, it's a questionable pick. We'll see. Again, I think you're right. The people in Berea would have a lot more faith. Technically, they're in Charlotte right now. But the people in the building would have a lot more faith in Dillon Gabriel than what the general public has. And then you have this guy where I can't just treat him like Clayton Thorson. I mean, I yelled at you about it a couple days ago to the point where now I'm raspy over it, where Mel Kiper wasn't getting emotional on TV and basically to the point of tears over Clayton Thorson. He wasn't doing that. Like, this is, we cannot stick our head in the sand and act like this is a normal 5th round pick situation. However, I also can't force a situation that might not be there because I'm not there every single day. I'm not with him every single day. We may find out tonight, depending on some of the things that he does. Maybe he is behind. Maybe he does need more time with this. Now, I'm sure people just blame Kevin Stefanski, and I flirt with the notion myself. Why? Because I'm so desperate to dig ourselves out of this hole of what we have. I see Myles Garrett, I see Denzel Ward, and I go, we have these players that if you had a quarterback, what would we be saying about this team? We have these players that one is a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer, and I'm just going to waste another year with him. And so I desperately, and when people get desperate, what do? They don't think clearly. And so I'm not thinking totally clearly. And so I desperately want to skip steps to try to dig us out of the hole that we've created. And that may come at the cost of whether or not Shadour Sanders is very much ready. Does that any of that make sense to you?
It does. But it's funny because I got a DM yesterday from somebody that works in the NFL that listens to the show. And they said that Kenny lose his mind. They cannot believe we are talking about Shadour Sanders the way we're talking about him. They think people around the league are laughing at this situation. They can't believe that there is any charting of passes for a 5th round pick when he's the guy they actually have the least amount of assets towards in the quarterback room. Flacco, they're paying this year. He's getting $4 million, but with incentives could be way more. They traded a player and a 5th round pick for Kenny Pickett. They obviously took Dillon Gabriel ahead of Shadour, and Shadour is there. And then, like I said yesterday, everything they are leaking to the public is to try to tell you, he's 4th on the depth chart, and their placement of him and him not getting reps. Like I said yesterday on social media, I think it's time that we just for your own sanity, whether or not you think he's going to be great, whether or not you think he's going to be out of the league in 2 years, whatever it is your feeling is, just go into any Shadour conversation with, he's a 5th round pick. If you look at him through that lens, you're not going to be disappointed. In fact, you only are going to feel great if he ends up playing well. I'm going to end up being disappointed no matter what. So lower your expectations, I guess, would be the message I would have. But even though I'm excited for him, I am pumped. It's really the only reason I'm dialed in tonight. I mean, I would have watched, but I would not have watched all that much, I'll be honest. But the first preseason game. And that's part of what we're given the guys that aren't playing. You know, Anthony, I had written down as a conversation piece before we knew Shadour was going to start in this game. Does Anthony owe it to you guys to watch the preseason? Because you're famous for, hey, I'm going to the feast. Hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm not. Like, it almost became a badge of honor. Like, I'm not watching these games live. You would watch something else, and I'll get to it when I get to it because, guys, I'm not going to sit down and break down. Kenny will break down Jackson Barton and whether or not he can make the 53-man roster. I'm not going to sit there and do like you, and that's fine. Like it is a show. That's part of it. Okay. But that's part of what makes you fun. But then Shadour comes in and I go, what? Then we can't treat him like a 5th round pick. Because if it was if it were Mike White starting for the Browns, we'd go, well, what the hell? And I think a lot of people would be making probably old mayor jokes and alpaca jokes if he were starting for the Browns in a preseason game number 1. Yesterday we went over some of the quarterbacks that had thrown a ton of passes, and one of them I didn't remember. I have a follow-up to that. Yeah, that's right. Well, we had one where we didn't know how to pronounce his name. You thought it was Kyle Laletta. And he played in 3 games and just threw and threw and threw. I thought you were looking at Kevin's Minnesota time. And quite honestly, I did. Honestly, I did as well.
I thought some of those quarterbacks were Minnesota. Yeah. Were some of them Minnesota quarterbacks?
No, they were
Browns quarterbacks.
Anthony was right. Those were Browns quarterbacks. I don't remember those games.
I don't remember them either. So
I don't think everybody is as dialed in as they say they
No, they're not. They're not. But going back to your NFL friend and going to like what Albert writes, right? I got no problem with Albert Breer, guys. Let's leave that. Obviously, he's a friend of the station.
You had to say that at the start of this sentence. Where's this going?
Well, no, because it sounds like I'm attacking him. Because I say, well, you can't stick your head in the sand. You have to see that the guy is a major celebrity, and you have in unprecedented times, you've had an unprecedented fall for a quarterback anyway, from the first round to the fifth round, where if you get a guy that a lot of people respected people projected him to be a first round pick, you get that guy in the fifth round, people are going to get excited about that. But also like the Colts situation, Seattle situation, those teams aren't trying to dig themselves out of a hole that you created by giving up 3 first-round picks and $235 million guaranteed to a quarterback that people do not want to play for you this year. He's already injured. He's coming back from injury, and the vast majority of Browns fans don't want to see that guy on the field. So we're looking for something to dig us out of the hole. So now I'm basically Chevy Chase in Vegas Vacation, where now I'm digging around the holes out in the desert with Cousin Eddie looking for money so I can go put money down on terrible table games to try to get this thing figured out, to try to make my money back, to dig myself out of this hole, because I don't want to waste any more time with great football players. Damn it, you people know that Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett are great football players. You need more than 2 football players to be able to do this. Then you got Joel Bitonio, you got Wyatt Teller, and DeJuan Jones is coming around, but he's young. I mean, see, I'm starting to get upset and worked up myself here because I just don't want to waste any time with guys that I know, and we all know, are fantastic. I don't want to waste any more time. And I know in the back of my mind, you're just going to have to waste that time. Usually, and why we remember a Johnny Unitas, why you remember a Tom Brady, is because they're the exception to the rule. They become legends. Late round cut guy or 6th round pick, they become legends. They're exceptions. We don't remember the also-rans that have been taken year in and year out in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, whatever, undrafted, whatever. You don't remember that. And more than likely, I'm just going to have to deal with this, and we're going to have to deal with this, and we cannot skip steps, and we're going to have to trudge forward. And then, honestly, you throw on that Arch Manning conversation yesterday right at the end of the show where his grandfather comes on and is like, yeah, he's going back in 2026, and people immediately start tweeting us. What do they start tweeting us? It's because of Jimmy. It's because of the Browns. They don't want to be a part of this mess. Nope, Eli wasn't going to be a part of the mess in San Diego. He's not going to allow his grandson to be a part of this mess here in Cleveland. No way, no how. And it just makes me even more desperate for Shedeur Sanders to do well, because I think he has a higher ceiling than Dylan Gabriel and a lot of other fans do as well. Not guys in the office, but fans. So what I say to like Albert and what I say to your friend from the NFL is like, you guys aren't desperate. You guys aren't desperate. I'm desperate. So I'm acting in a way that if you and I were doing this show in Chicago and we were looking at videos of guys breaking down Shedeur Sanders, go, Judas Priest, this is nuts. That's my explanation. It's not a clear level of thinking.
But either way, I mean, regardless of the fact that he's buried on the depth chart, despite the fact that next week's going to be Kenny Pickett's week to shine, you know, in their joint practice situation with Philadelphia, regardless of any of the stuff that's going on, like, how much fun is it tonight when probably in reality, if we were looking at this situation, if it were any other team in the NFL, we would be probably going, who cares? It's a 4th-string quarterback. Not here. Like here, there is general excitement, and you got a bunch of national talking heads who know every time they bring up Shedeur Sanders, the internet's going to go crazy. So that's why, you know what? There's a little bit of pressure tonight, and I love it. There should never be pressure with a 4th-string quarterback in a preseason game, but somehow here we are, and it makes tonight that much bigger when in 99% of situations, this night would be meaninless.
It would.
So it gave us real meaning.
Because think about this. Be honest, like you'd be curious. Like, well, let's go under if they just drafted Dylan Gabriel and Dylan has a hamstring injury. who starts tonight? Is it Joe, or do they just get Snoop Huntley? What is the excitement in that? What is the excitement in any of that?
Non-entity.
I mean, you want to talk about the fart of all farts to kick off a season.
Maybe the rookies on defense.
No offense to Snoop, man, but under the same circumstances, we just signed you. You just got off a plane. This thing is
I'd
dead.
rather have Kyle Lauletta.
Oh, this is dead on arrival here, man. You'd rather have Kyle Lauletta. I mean, it's just dead on arrival. So, yeah, there is some excitement to see because I am so damn desperate to dig out of this hole. This terrible, terrible. Finally, somebody outside of Cleveland said this because, Lima, you and I said this. I believe Nick and Jonathan said this. And maybe just Nick, but I don't want to misquote anybody on that one. But you were steadfast with me on this. But when we're in Cleveland, you guys just have Stockholm syndrome. You guys don't know any better. You're just Cleveland fans. Okay, well, thank God Dan Orlovsky said this.
Will everybody stop with the Shedeur Sanders is being set up to fail narrative? Who do you want to start the game? It's preseason week 1. First option, Joe Flacco. He's played for like 20 years. He's not going to start preseason week 1. The next 2 options would be a Kenny Pickett or a Dylan Gabriel. Both are dealing with hamstring injuries. Neither has practiced a ton recently. If they've done anything, I believe it's been 7-on-7. Who do you want to start the game? The next 2 options are Shedeur and Snoop Huntley. Shedeur's been there. Snoop Huntley just got there. So while Shedeur may not have had reps with the ones, what else do you want them to do in Cleveland? It's an opportunity for him. It may not be the ideal opportunity. Very rarely is it for a 5th-round pick, but it's an opportunity for him to go out there and do in a game what many have reported he's done in practice. Stop with the setup to fail narrative.
Audio courtesy Dan Orlovsky on X. By the way, Twitter Action is brought to you by Scheibin Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store, 653 in 7 seconds for those scoring at home. I needed somebody else to say that outside of Cleveland like here because you and me saying it just wasn't getting through. He does have a massive fan base. This isn't the first massive fan base we've ever dealt with. People are like, oh, Cleveland media is not right. It's like, guys, we have Baker. I had Johnny. Like, we're kind of used to this. But they didn't believe.
We're more used to it than any other team. We are the team with the owner that allegedly has done this every time. So what are you talking about?
It was nuts to me where, like, the Browns are diabolical for doing this. This is a hostage situation, which was thrown out by Hugh Douglas on ESPN yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going, please, for the love of God, somebody who is in Bristol or Los Angeles or New York, for the love of God, do you not see? Like, hey, they might mess it up, but they are going to mess it up by accident. They're not going to screw them on purpose, Tone.
No, obviously not. And look, if you're looking for ideal, well, how many ideal situations are there in the preseason in general? Okay, maybe Joe Burrow had an ideal situation yesterday, but 95% of the quarterbacks starting preseason games, especially the guys that are buried on the depth chart, like it's not going to be an ideal situation. You're not going to get Jerry Jeudy tonight, unfortunately. That is a bummer. I will say I would have really loved. I don't care that he hasn't really practiced with Jeudy. I do know they've thrown, after practice at times and before practice. I would have loved to see that because just Jerry Jeudy's the one guy that has that playmaking capability that I think we could have had some fun with tonight. So that is a bummer for me. I understand it, but it is a bummer. But no, if you're looking for ideal in the preseason, then what league have you been watching? And then it kind of shows that people really don't watch preseason games or analyze.
Hell, I was going to ask whether or not how much he's being judged by tonight, Shadour Sanders is. And then, damn, you two asked just 2 questions I just want to go over right now. Holy potatoes. Hey, we go about last night coming up at 7:45. You got to hear what Kevin Stefanski said about how he intends to help Shadour Sanders coming up later on tonight. That coming up during about last night at 7:43 this morning. But, Tone, you said afternoon asked a great question yesterday about what?
Yeah, whether this is...
It's Friday, man. There's no rules here. I'll ask whatever. I don't give a...
Yeah, whether this game tonight, his performance, if it's really good, if that's going to be a bigger deal for him, or as opposed to if he struggles mightily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is going to be, the bigger issue? I can't. Obviously, they phrased it a lot better, and now I'm getting scrambled in the head. But
in their world, in the Browns world, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to go too fast for you. I'll say it like this. We are living in two different worlds right now. In the Browns world, absolutely
if this can help
nothing.
him or hurt him more.
Yes. In the Browns world, absolutely nothing. Not a damn thing. He will go out there. Like, he go out there tonight, I think. He could go 10 for 10 for 112 yards. I don't know why 112 came to my mind. How many pitches did Gavin Williams have the other day that we got all mad about? That another show got all mad about? 126. He could throw 10 for 10 for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. And they could call it a day. Go, congratulations, have a seat. And they will look at it and go, he had a very nice outing. Okay, back to Joe for the first team reps against Philadelphia. Because they're getting Joe ready.
It will help
him
Dylan Gabriel.
Yes, it will help him later. But people will go nuts going, why are you guys wasting your time with 40-year-old dudes when you have this guy sitting there? Because in our world, it does mean something. There are two different worlds. See, you have somebody who's asked you, like at the beginning of the show, I talked about how I'm basically having an existential crisis over everything that has gone on here over the last couple of weeks when it comes to a quarterback, where I do think at times, and I had a back and forth with somebody on Twitter yesterday, perfectly clean, where it's like, Ken, have you lost the plot a little bit? And I go, yeah, a little bit. Because I can't just treat him like any other fifth-round pick. People weren't crying on TV over other fifth-round picks. They were crying over him. So I'm sorry. I cannot just treat him like that. Because if it's another fifth-round pick, nobody on ESPN is talking about him. Nobody on Fox is talking about him. Nobody on The Fan is talking about him. So, but I also see where you have a person who's an NFL personnel guy texting you, and Albert Breer, who's an insider, who's writing, going, man, they ain't making a big damn deal about other fifth-round picks. Yeah, because they're in different situations. We are in a situation here where we are desperate and trying to dig ourselves out. So I see it. I have to try to see it from both sides. In that building, he could go out and be awesome tonight. Hope he does, clearly. And I think they do. It may make a difference where how deep he is on the depth chart. But it ain't going to change a damn thing for how they try to start this season. I told you, I think that this has been going on for the last 2 weeks, so you can't accuse me of losing my mind. Joe Flacco, this race is done. To me, Joe Flacco is the starter. I thought he was the starter before Kenny Pickett got hurt, and certainly it ain't going to make anything any easier now that Kenny Pickett's going to be coming back from that hamstring injury. So Joe Flacco is going to be your guy. It could help him, but I think with us, if he does really well with us and fans, and we are part of that, it becomes how quickly can he play? Should he be playing? Should he now be getting first-team reps? Should he be playing with the first-teamers in the preseason games? That's it. If he plays really poorly, don't deny it's not exactly what I said yesterday, where why would Kevin Stefanski not give him first-team reps? Why would the Browns do this, that, and the other? There will definitely be some people go, see, Shedeur ain't that good. You guys have been making a big deal about nothing. But there will definitely be a lot of people going after the Browns over this, and you know that, and I do too.
For sure. I just feel like there are so many people who just can't be honest. Like they're coming into a preseason game with all of their narratives about Shadour Sanders already. So that's the one thing that I would caution against, and just understand, like you guys all know what people are saying before, whether it's Louis Riddick, Hugh Douglas, okay? And then there's a Dan Orlovsky, but we played going into the break. So just know, if people are just going to be consistent with what they had said previously and they're not open to new thought, like I'm somebody who I changed my mind on Baker Mayfield 25 times based on his play. I didn't have a set agenda before he got drafted and then carry that out throughout, because I think people like that are ridiculous. Like, there are things that you're allowed to flip-flop on. There are things. And like Shedeur, I am coming into this tonight with a total open mind. I loved him in college. There were times when I thought, hey, this could be a first-round pick. And then there were times where I'm like, oh, yeah, people around the NFL that actually do this for a living are saying he is not anywhere near a first-round pick. And then there are people saying, hey, he is nowhere near ready to go right now. All right, well, you know what? Eventually the talk has got to subside. You got to just let the guy play.
Yeah. And
while I did say last segment, this is not ideal for Shedeur tonight because he's going up against starters for a couple of series. And you look at his weapons. Who are his weapons going to be tonight? Who are his offensive line?
Not Cedric Tillman, not Jerry Jeudy.
Is Njoku?
How much of the offensive line is Njoku?
He said, by and large, most of our starters will not play.
Yeah, let's line up that Kevin Stefanski from last night on the Kevin Stefanski show. I didn't set Owen up properly for that one, so we'll get that here just in a moment here, because this is all This is coming off the cuff. This is exciting stuff.
What does that tell you about his offensive line? Who he's going to be working with. Maybe it is the guys that he actually worked with, in the lead up in training camp. Here's Stefanski.
If you couple those live periods with an extra practice versus a team in week one, that leads to a lot of the decisions in not playing the starters in the game versus Carolina, because they've gotten upwards of, call it 36, 40 plays in a live or very competitive period versus another team.
So he's thinking, does he just disagree with Dave Canales and what Dave Canales is doing? Is that because I can't imagine either team is very deep.
The pendulum is starting to swing here. So when McVay showed, when they jumped out to that awesome record to start out the season and didn't play any of their good players, any of their starters, then the overcorrection the following couple of years was nobody was going to play anybody. And yet, what happened with Dave Canales' team last year when they didn't really play Bryce Young? They struggled mightily out of the
beginning
of
the year. Had a Super Bowl team. Dave Canales did not have a Super Bowl team.
Sure, but you do see,
Kansas City plays their starters. Cincinnati played their starters last night.
Yeah, Cincinnati did play their starters. So the pendulum is swinging again. The guy's playing again. So I don't want to kill Stefanski for not playing his ones. He's got a 40-year-old quarterback.
Right. It's also how
Judy,
old is,
I would have liked to see.
How old is the offensive line, right? How old is...
You got veterans.
Do you want to keep putting miles on Jack Conklin when you never know if he's going to be upright and healthy the whole season?
I was surprised he made it back at all, and actually, let alone contribute to the football team at right tackle.
Solid right now, coming back.
I mean, for a guy who's making double-digit $1 million, it does seem like he's doing us all a favor in coming back to this football team.
Wyatt Teller is great, but do you want to risk injury with him right now? But at the same time, I would feel much more comfortable. It's not even feeling comfortable about Shedeur behind the offensive line. That to me is where you see him really does he move in a way that the starting offensive line, works together with, because when Deshaun was back there, it looked like the offensive line was playing one play and Deshaun was playing another play, right? It didn't look like it was cohesive.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, and we need to know if these quarterbacks are cohesive with the starting offensive line.
Flat out. I don't know if we'll know. I mean, it's a great question to ask, but I don't know how anybody answers it yesterday or this morning. We won't know until after the game tonight. How much can he help or hurt his career? Or help or hurt himself tonight by being the starter in this football game? Well, again, if I go by just outsider opinion, he will either blame the Browns. More than likely, a lot of people just blame the Browns for putting him in a not a great situation. I don't believe that they're sabotaging him on purpose, but they will not have put him in a great situation. Or people go, hey, ain't that great? And clearly he's not a first-round choice, because a first-round choice would still be able to deliver the football and be okay. So they're going to get that. If he does do well, hey, it's all systems go. It's all systems go. This is a guy who definitely should have been a first-round pick. Now you got him plopped into your lap. He's done fantastically against this Carolina Panthers football team, which probably still ain't a great football team, but should be on their way back up considering what they had to go through last year. Still, if he does well, then the conversation changes there. I ain't going to know that until tonight, because you do have some things stacked against you if you're playing against a first-team defense and you got your second-teamers with you, and your wide receiver core is you have a hometown favorite in Luke Floria, and Jamari Thrash. Okay. You get what I'm saying?
Laverdane playing.
Well,
he's the playmaker.
You're getting a steady dose.
You got to have Laverdane. If you don't have him, I mean, what the hell are we doing out there in the first place?
Sal Cannella
is going to be out there. So
for the Camp Darlings.
We are going to find out like they are not active or something like that. I didn't miss anything in the news. I want to make sure if Sal Cannella's not there, then I ain't going to watch. I'm just going to let you know that right now.
Well, you said there's either positive or negatives tonight. Is there any way that nothing changes for Shedeur after tonight?
If he goes like 5 of 6, but he's going to throw it a hell of a lot more than that, which I got something lined up for you later on about that. 216-474-0092. Well, I'll just ask people, how much are you actually judging Shedeur by tonight? Because if you're being honest with yourself, hey, he did fall to us. There should be some sort of a gleam there, right? But he is playing with the second team. against a first-team defense. It's all the NFL. You're probably going to have to play against these guys anyway, no matter what.
Let's see some magic tonight.
How much are you judging? How much are you judging them by tonight? Like, is there any way on earth, without preconceived notions, a person could look at tonight and go, he's the best thing coming for the Browns, or I told you guys, this guy's terrible? Is there any way anybody could do something like that?